like they're gonna make it. It's that kind of stuff. Like you just have to know how much you believe in yourself, and then know how to spot that in a project or a person that's behind or involved in a project. Because there's a lot of that stuff, like where, people have said, hey, I want to do this. Actually, a lot of the articles I've written, like I didn't get paid to write all that stuff, which is probably a good thing. But, in order for someone to say, I want your opinion on this artist or this book, can you write something for me about it? And I have the ability to write about it. It kind of frees me up in some ways. But, sometimes there's a good paycheck in writing too. Art shows, same thing. Illustration projects, especially, because those are so time sensitive, and sometimes the person who's handling the money is so ridiculous, you just learn that you never want to deal with it again, or learn how to spot a situation where someone who's just such an asshole, you just never want to deal with it. Or the project can be super cool on day one and end up being totally not worth what it's supposed to be. But in that situation, you just have to be professional and just finish it. And like, don't take anything personally, because, it starts to be personal. It's like, man, why did I do this? And why is this person so this or that? Just got to finish the project. And then, that's how I've made it through a lot of other things too. Just got to finish it and move on to the next thing, and not think that I own any part of this project, or it's like any part of me. It's like what they want to do, fine. If they're going to be unreasonable, then that's what they got to carry about, and deal with. And I realize I got plenty to deal with that has nothing to do with, I have kind of a strict no asshole policy. I'm not going to deal with it. It's not worth it. It's never like, nobody's ever paid me an amount of money where it's like, wow, I made so much on this that I'll deal with that guy. It's never going to be worth it, because it's always going to be a huge pain, and they'll try to take as much of you as possible. Like, not just professionally, just personally. They'll just suck it out of you. So I think that's been one of the challenges, how to spot, people that are not worth the time. Because the projects that are worth it generally come up in a certain way. They will present themselves, they'll seem solid, they'll be backed up by solid facts, and they'll say, exactly up front what you're going to deal with, what you're going to make, what their expectations are. And it's really cut and dry. The ones you got to watch out for are just kind of vague, and, they'll be slow with information. So those are the kind of things that I have to weed through and see, is it going to be worth it? Is there anything attached to it that adds value to, a portfolio, a resume, life? And, that's the challenge. So.
Is there any kind of project or job that you haven't really done yet that you'd like to? Like some kind of, like a dream thing where you're like, if I could just, do this, this would be an exciting new thing that, you never tried before?
Yeah, there's so much of that. I mean, there's so much I haven't done. Like, I've painted a lot of pictures, it seems, and I've written a couple of things. That's not much at all. Like, I've barely started to do anything that I feel is, like, really substantial. What I think I've really started doing is created this body of work that, at the end of the day, is a really nice chunk of a visual concept or a portfolio. But it's not a movie, man. It doesn't go anywhere. You can't watch it. You can't hear it. You can't reach out and touch it. So there's all these other dimensions that I would like to have a finger in, or just like be a part of, that I feel for my own personal work would add that reality of that dimension of reality to it. So yeah, things I want to do are things that I'm setting up to do, but just am not working on currently. It's one of those things that's kind of in the air, it's in the ether, and it's going to happen. It's just a matter of accomplishing certain things to get there. And I feel like, the last 11 years, the last 10 years of painting have allowed me a nice body of work to sit in front of someone and say, this is what I'm capable of in some, manner, visually. Let's make this into something else. The digital age, motion graphics, all that fun stuff, video games. Like, I don't know, that seems to be the future. Apps. Come on, who's not trying to develop an app right now?
Lots and lots of apps. Everything's
exactly.
apps.
So, yeah.
Before we started talking, I had some of your work up on the big screen that we got here,
Oh,
and someone asked Somebody asked how you worked, and I said that from what I've seen, mostly acrylics.
mhm.
Um, do you work primarily in acrylics, and just in general, technically, since we've got a bunch of artists here, I'm sure we'd all be really eager to hear about you, like your technical progress from like sketch to finish.
Yeah, everything I've done, I decided to stick with acrylics. I've done some oil paintings, and it's I mean, A, it's really difficult, and B, I tend to smear it. Like it stays wet so long I forget because I've worked in acrylics for so long. It like dries like this, but oils, it can still be wet 3 weeks later, and I'll damage it. But like I move stuff around a lot because you asked how much do I work on at one point in time, and I try to hang everything that I'm working on so I can always see it progressing. Drive my girlfriend crazy. So we've got the upstairs like with finished paintings, and she said the downstairs is cool, for the stuff and that I'm working on. Um, so, what was the full question from sketch to finish or
Yeah,
paint
just
acrylic?
your process of painting. I mean, obviously it's acrylics, but sort of the way that you kind of build it up. Like, how do you paint?
Um, Man, there's so many ways I'll start paintings, but basically I'll get an idea. Like, we're always getting ideas all the time. There's like so much information coming into our minds or like filtering through us at all points in time. I just try to stay as open to good ideas as possible and filter out the ones that are just going to like, kind of go in one ear and out the other. So when I see a really good idea, I'll try to sketch it out or like get it down on paper as quickly as possible to whatever extent I can get it, and then like see where it needs to develop. And then generally drawings will develop into paintings. And I noticed when I would go straight from idea to painting, like right onto the canvas, I would have to change so much. So I started more recently actually, just concentrating on the drawing first. Like if it's not a good drawing, typically it's not going to be a good painting. Or if it's not a really good drawing and captivating, then why even bother? So I ended up solving a lot of problems doing that, just like taking the time to not make all the mistakes that I could make and try to weed out a lot of it. And I think it made where the paintings are right now a lot stronger because, like you're saying, there's a lot of detail going on in there, and I've got to be really mindful of my time because I'll get really stuck on just a few little buildings here, and they're not all that important to the whole story, but they're really cool and fun to look at and paint with. Like those are really fun for a couple of days. So I'm totally rambling here, aren't I, guys?
That's fine.
Or just going somewhere? Are you all right? Cool. So I'll take it from drawing to a drawing that's a sketch from something that's a really interesting drawing to me, and then make sure that while it's growing into the painting, that painting fits within the larger series, like the Intimate Parade series. And there seems to be about, in 10 years, I've had 75 really good pieces like within the series, and then probably like 100 good supporting pieces that tend to be sketches or ideas for the pieces that work unto themselves, but they're not like that strong. They're not really showpieces or, what I would want to build towards a masterpiece. So I guess that's part of the process is weeding out what I think is really strong and like this is a strong showpiece, and this I just probably did to make myself happy because I liked it. And then I had to separate it from what I was trying to do and let this be important, hopefully.
Anybody else have any questions?
Yeah, I have a question. Like, how much has the look to your artwork evolved like over the years, even after school and in school? Like, do you think it's changed drastically, or has it always kind of looked the way it looks now?
No, it's changed a lot. Like I've got a few of the pieces. When I moved out here, I just had a bunch of stuff in the storage, so we brought everything out. And as I'm putting together the new storage unit, the little barn thing out here, I'm noticing like I have paintings from like when I first started painting in college in like '93, and then my work after college.